virtue of a necessity.
He was
so you're making a virtue of a necessity. Acting on Bhutta Singh was a political necessity. Don't make a virtue of that necessity today, sir.
No. Please, Arnav, only 1 minute. Arnav, just 1 minute. He was charged in a previous case.
Yeah.
Bajpayee asked him to resign. Mr. Bajpayee met him to resign and lost the government by 1 vote. This has got political leadership. Would the Prime Minister show some political accountability?
No, 1 second.
Would the political leadership in
Sir,
the
you're getting responses.
would show some accountability? That is the point.
Sir, you're getting responses first from Kumar Ketkar, who you've taken on. Kumar Ketkar, yes.
See, I have a very simple point to make. I agree with Ravi Shankar Prasad that we should be proud of our democracy, our judiciary, etc., etc. But the point here is that he is also admitting that the Supreme Court has seen all the letters which Prashant Bhushan and he mentioned. Supreme Court has examined all the documents, all the policy follow-up that has been taking place ever since 2001, 2005, 2007, 2009 and now. And after examining those documents, Supreme Court has cleared that Chidambaram need not be involved in this. Chidambaram was not consulted.
Yes.
And after examining all this, so Supreme Court has said, I have not seen the documents. I have not seen a single letter written by Prime Minister or Finance Minister or the secretaries writing to them. So it is simple that Supreme Court, as long as we trust and they have seen all the documents, I think we have to also trust the judgment of the Supreme Court saying that Finance Minister was not directly involved, just as the earlier judgment says Prime Minister was not
these are matters of interpretation. Is it a clean sheet for the Prime Minister, Prashant Bhushan? Because all the documents have been put forth. This argument has been put, he should have listened to Subramaniam Swamy, Rajiv Chandrasekhar should have put his foot down, should have been assertive for Raja, but there is nothing I find in the judgment, Prashant Bhushan, which is a direct indictment of the Prime Minister, or his role, or of anyone in the government beyond Raja.
So it's true that the judgment does not contain a direct indictment of the Prime Minister because the Supreme Court was not called upon to go into the culpability of the Prime Minister or Chidambaram. Chidambaram, only the Subramaniam Swamy's application. Subramaniam Swamy's application was for getting Mr. Chidambaram investigated, on which the Supreme Court said that since the same... No, because they said that the special judge will examine that matter. They have not been given a clean chit by the Supreme Court. Anybody who feels that the Prime Minister or Mr. Chidambaram have been given a clean chit by the Supreme Court is gravely mistaken. Totally mistaken. But I think people are missing the main point of that judgment. The main point of that judgment is that public resources worth several thousands of crores which are scarce cannot be given away in this manner by the government except through a transparent and public auction. And that this judgment would apply even to the giving away of mining leases for oil fields, gas fields, etc. So it's a path-breaking judgment in that sense. I don't think that honest corporates, whether foreign or Indian corporates, should have anything to fear from this judgment, because this is a salutary signal to everybody that honest business should be done in this country. If corporates behave dishonestly as they have done in this case, then people purchasing stolen goods from these dishonest corporates will have to face those consequences.
That's the question I want to put to Pinaki Mishra. Mr. Mishra, I feel that your observation against the political class is an attempt to obfuscate the big issue about what has been done by the corporates. I mean, your client Unitech, if I'm not mistaken, divested some 50-60% of the share in a record time. That's also the moot issue.
Well, Arnav, that was in... May I tell you, that was in line with the attracting the FDI policy. What they did was in line with the government policy, which in hindsight has now been frowned upon. But let me also congratulate Mr. Prashant Bhushan. Really, they've done yeoman service, and I agree with him that this is the tip of the iceberg. This savage indictment today is a tip of the iceberg, because from now on, all kinds of deals that are going on in this country are going to be under the scanner. And he's right that, petroleum contracts, mining contracts, all these contracts now have to come under the scanner in this fashion. And, any scarce resource which is to be palmed off by the government.
My point is it only a savage indictment of the political class?
It's a bitter pill.
No, you not answered my question here, because I think the Supreme Court has made observations of this. Do you think it is time also also for certain corporates to think of their role in this whole, in the whole 2G mess. You know, companies like the one you represent, which have divested a large part of their share in a record time, making huge profits, of course now impacted by what has happened in court.
Now, Arnab,
Yes.
if you ask me a direct question, let me give you a direct answer.
Yes, sir.
Not a penny has gone into the pockets of Unitech. In fact, lots of money have gone into various pockets. I'm talking about industrial houses which have actually divested and pocketed the money, and there is not a whisper about them anywhere. Let me, if you are going to be honest about this, I will.
No, we are getting responses.
Unitech has not pocketed a penny.
Sir,
the money that has been brought in from the foreign collaborator, which is Telenor, has gone in for the rollout, and that is precisely what was envisaged under the FDI
the real
policy.
estate company,
so therefore,
the company has been criticized for divesting 60% of its share to the Norwegian telecom giant Telenor, as far as I know. But I want to get in, because Ravi Shankar Prasad was smiling there, I was getting reactions. I want to get Meghnath Desai responding to you. You're hearing the response of Pinaki Mishra here. And my question on the role of individual corporates, Lord Desai, what do you think?
I think that in case the corporates were in collusion with Raja, which obviously presume they must have bribed him, then obviously they need to suffer the loss of revenue. I've got no problem with that. But what it will send a signal to the world is, yes, the Supreme Court judgment is a great judgment, but it will say, don't do business in India because you never know whether you're getting a clean contract or a dirty contract.
Why?
Just stay away from India. Don't invest. Well, because, when they did it, were they supposed to know it was a dirty contract? Was a signal given that, to have a contract in India, you have to know the history from Vajpayee 1999 to 2008. You have to know who belongs to which party, what finance minister said or did not say.
No, it's the rule of law.
Why does a businessman have to know all the...
It's the rule of law.
The rule of law... It is a rule of law which is 3 years different from the rule of law which was in 2008.
No, but the same rule of law stopped Vodafone from paying taxes and penalties worth $4.4 billion, sir.
But the problem is this, Arnab. If you are now going to presume that everybody who's got a contract was a crook, right? That is the thing. That everybody who's got a license is a crook and was crony capitalist.
Ravi Shankar Prasad wants to respond to you.
Hang on, listen.
Is this a bogey? Is this a bogey of foreign funds being raised needlessly? Won't this send out a message that this is a rule of law in India?
Nothing about foreign funds or domestic funds. Even a domestic producer, domestic investor will be very chary because you never know when the chair is going to be taken away from you and you're going to fall on the floor. Because you do a business and then later on you're told this was dishonest. Who wants to do business in a circumstance like that?
I don't know if all our panelists agree with you. Let me get Ravi Shankar Prasad's response first. I also welcome... Yes, Ravi Shankar Prasad, go on, please.
The reply to Mr. Desai is very simple. Businessmen of the world will come to India because of the sheer market size of India. Because they know investing in India is always reasonable and will give them good return because of the huge market. And yes, aberrations are there. Previously, if they were not there, they will learn the right lesson. And also, the people who do business, who are our own business leaders, will also have to think. Or now I will not take name, but can we forget a very respectable business leader was constrained to write a letter in his long hand to Mr. Karunanidhi extolling the virtues of Mr. Raja? What happened thereafter we all know. Therefore, it is a good lesson. That way, I see a good churning. That in India, polity will be fair, even economic decisions have to be fair, and when you do business in India, you must know that sweetheart deals will not last long. Last point to what Pinaki just stated. Pinaki just stated, in the case of this whole offloading of Unitech shares, ultimately offloading of equity for a huge windfall profit was also cleared by the then finance minister, Mr. Chidambaram. He also knew as to how much return are coming. That was also the occasion for him to intervene, which I am sorry to say he did not do.
I totally agree with Ravi Shankar Prasad that capitalism also must learn, and this was not merely crony capitalism, it was robber baron capitalism, and robber baron capitalism was also prevalent in America, and therefore in America the corporate capitalism was controlled and contained by the chains of law and the new legal amendments that they were also making. So it is not correct for Lord Desai to say that in India they will be offended while coming here. In America there is corporate law which prevents them from taking even abroad, going abroad with criminal action.
They won't be offended. They won't come.
No, why shouldn't they?
And if they don't want to come, fair enough, robber baron capitalists, we don't want robber baron capitalists.
Why do you say
Indian
so
or otherwise?
Why do you say so today? If I'm not mistaken, today the markets were up some 22,000 crores in cash and FIIs bought some 1,500 crores today. If there was such a dismal situation, good. Why would, there's
it will be a long run. It will be a long run dismal situation.
Long run dismal situation.
It's not a short run thing.
Okay.
But in America there are laws. In America there are laws to control corporate capitalism.
Yeah, I know. But you see, in India, you're not going to control corporate capitalism. All it is going to be, some other party will come to power and the same thing will be repeated, because that is the nature of politics in India.
This question.
The politics which is corrupt, the politics, as long as there are ministers giving out licenses, this situation will occur again and again. That is what businessmen will learn.
This question.
Only one sentence. This fear was raised at the time of Enron.
Yeah.
And after Enron, so many thousands of capitalists from abroad have come to India from all over the world.
There are two ways of looking at it.
Enron did not stop foreign capital coming in. Enron did not stop Indian capital joining foreign capital. I think Indian market, as Ravi Shankar Prasad correctly said,
this question,
Indian market, Indian possibility of giving them returns and clean returns are growing every day.
While handing over to Navika, I ask a broader question to news our viewers.
So as Lord Meghnad Desai says, I'm not so sure that politicians will continue to go through the same scale once again of corruption in handing out deals, because this particular political fallout is something that they will need to remember for a long time. But what is important is, again, I take you back to the Supreme Court judgment, para 73, and this is where I look at it as an implicit indictment of the government. Just see what the Supreme Court has said. The judgment says, we consider it imperative to observe that but for the vigilance of some enlightened citizens who held important constitutional and other positions and discharged their duties in larger public interest and NGOs. So they're not mentioning the government which intervened. They're talking about some constitutional institutions, probably the CAG is what they are referring to, and some enlightened citizens. So this is not about governance, and that is something that the government will need to seriously
Pinaki Mishra wants to respond.
Not only this government, but for all future governments.
Let me say this.
Okay, Meghnad Desai.
Now, nobody is going to be punished. Nobody is going to resign, except for Raja, who has been the scapegoat. I suspect that the system will go on like this. And businessmen will just have to take a risk that if you invest in India, you can lose all money. Well, fair enough.